This was a man-made
things.
communication satellite sitting over the Amazon jungle, and I
I
pointed
think you
the
need to
telescope
substantiate
directly
your
at
burden of
it
proof
and
on
looked
that
at
one.
it.
Percentage, you said that moon is a satellite, so we agree. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yep. Orbiting.
See, that's what
Good.
happens, guys,
Yep.
when you see reason.
So how did I
it's
find that
orbiting.
satellite?
Yes, the moon is orbiting in its path, its circuit.
So how did I find that
Around the Earth,
satellite?
yeah.
Percent.
You already said, with a telescope.
Yeah, how did I know where to point the telescope to find that particular satellite?
You knew because you looked into where that particular light would be at that particular time. Got him.
Not a light, a satellite. All right, it's not a light. It's
Listen,
a known
it's
object.
a light because, okay, is the word light in satellite? Exactly. Checkmate.
No, light spelled
L-I-T-E.
Actually, the
H-T,
stupid
and
thing-
satellite is L-I-T-E, so they're two
Oh, really?
different endings to that word,
You've
aren't
never
they?
used Damon Tools light then? Or Facebook
Are
light?
are
Or a bunch
airplanes
of other
also
lights?
flat
Or
planes?
night lights? Or
All right.
whatever.
Ask
You're
your
Red
section.
descending to
sun.
silliness now. How did I know exactly where that thing was going to be so that I could frame it up right in the center of my frame? How did I know where to look for it?
You got it off some sort of database of like a recorded
Satellites?
no, hold up, a log of celestial events, like maybe a star chart or satellite
I didn't.
kind of chart or what have you.
I downloaded the orbital data on the satellite, and it compared that to the time and said the satellite will be here, and lo and behold, there it was.
Yep, that'll do it.
Hey, Dr. Bob, you know what I find funny is
Sounds right.
that Percentage seemed to be really annoyed that I didn't directly answer the question in the way that he wanted. And yet I felt that he went round the houses with you trying not to answer that question. Or was that me?
No,
that
No,
was
that's him.
because I answered
So
it
how
very.
did-
It's definitely him.
I answered it very
database
concisely.
know
He
where
had
to
a
find the
database,
satellite?
you know,
How did the
a
database know where to find
compilation,
the
First he said
satellite?
it was a light.
compendium, if you will, of data, which he looked up, because this
Do you know
data has all
what?
been refined and recorded in the past, and
It's
he
like pulling
found
teeth.
what he was looking for. Thank
So
God.
satellite ends
are you
ITE,
saying we know exactly
and
where it
so
is?
does hypocrite. That's weird, Percentage, isn't it? That's a strange commonality there.
So you're saying we know exactly what the orbital path of that satellite is to the point that I can just put in a time and it'll tell me it's right here. So
I didn't say that.
Okay, so what are you saying? Where did the database come from? Because it's not past data. It's
What do you mean?
future
Of
data.
course it is.
No, it isn't. It's
Every
an
data
actual,
point is a past data point.
I didn't
Past
look at it.
data is where where it was.
Past
Future data is where
is
it's going to
redundant.
be.
All data that we record is our past data points by definition.
No, we can also.
It's future data point though. It told
Yeah.
me exactly
No, they're not
where
data.
to look for it at this
They're
time.
speculative data
That
points. They're not
is
actual
data. Percentage.
And it did it based on the fact it knows precisely what the orbit is. All right.
Fine.
Do you
it's
agree with
data.
that? It doesn't have anything to do with past observations. It has to do with future observations. At any time, I can pull that thing up and it'll point the telescope at it now. And I downloaded.
All right.
the
Who am I
database
talking to
yesterday.
right here? Who is this?
You're talking to me,
Yeah. Who are you?
Dr.
Bob.
Boobs.
Dr. Bob. All right. Dr. Bob, are you fine with pronouncing the word data?
Why the hell would I not be fine with that?
All right. So, data. Now, if we're calling it data, it's called data for a reason, all right? It's because the data points, you get them today, in the day, right? And it's not
Data
called
or data?
tomorrow. It's called data.
No.
Data or
There
data?
are no future data points.
Yes, there are.
It's not tomorrow. It's data.
That's the problem that you're running into. Is this?
So, Bob,
That-
allow me to help here. So, have you ever heard of the term percentage predictive data?
No, I've never heard of the term percentage.
You've never
predictive
heard
data,
of predictive data.
No, I haven't heard percentage.
You've
predictive
never
data.
studied. You've never studied any form of statistics.
I have.
So you studied statistics.
I
So
did,
great.
yes.
So what's an underlying trend?
It's a trend that is
Yeah.
kind of indicative of the data.
Yeah, and
Most
what
of
can I
the
do with that underlying
They're
trend?
probably,
Can I
like,
take an
standard
underlying
deviation or
trend
two,
in
I'm not sure
statistics and can I project that underlying trend forward in time to actually make a prediction? Is that therefore not predictive data?
Again, it's not actually data unless it's like actual data. Predictive data isn't actual data. It's just speculative.
Is the orbit of the satellite
Because
data?
once you actually plot it out, it might be a little bit different from the predictive data. It might
Well,
follow the
data.
underlying
Known
trend,
orbit of
but
the satellite
it
data.
won't exactly be the same. So therefore, it's not actually 100% legitimate
Okay, your
data.
word salad won't help you. Is the
It's not
orbit
word
of the
salad.
satellite data?
What's that?
Is the known orbit of the satellite data?
Yes, it would be.
Okay, so I downloaded that data and it allowed me to tell at a later time where a satellite was going to be, and I was able to find it.
Yeah.
How do you explain that?
Again, I've already explained this. They recorded.
No,
the
you
past
haven't. You said
events.
something about observations and trends. This has nothing to do with observations and trends. It's a known orbital path of the satellite, and all you have to do is plug in the time, and it'll tell you exactly where that orbit is.
Okay, again, it's because they've recorded it in the past. So, with the advent of technology, we're able to know exactly where this light is going to be.
No. They put it into space in orbit around the Earth, and they know the orbit that they put it into.
Oh, you haven't substantiated your burden of proof on that.
Yes, I have.
No,
by
you claimed it was a
finding the
man-made
satellite
object
where
put
it
into
was
space.
predicted.
You've never substantiated your burden of proof.
No, you're wrong, because I actually was
Don't
able
me.
to use a prediction, and that prediction was validated. So
Again,
that's my burden of proof, and that's all I have to do.
The power of it is absolutely fine. There's no issue there. We've recorded it so many times that we've refined the times in different locations such that we're able to know where it's going to be. But you have not substantiated your claim that it is a man-made object that we put up there.
Yeah, I did by predicting its orbit, and I know who
Again,
put it
we
up
predict the
in
orbit of the sun and the moon. Did we put them up there?
We put this satellite up there, so that has nothing to do with it.
The sun and the moon
that
are
is
satellites.
That is not a natural event. It is a man-made event.
Again,
So,
the sun and the
again,
moon
how
are
did I know
satellites.
how to
you
We
find that
predicted
satellite?
the orbital paths of the sun and the moon. Did we put them up there? No.
Are you receiving
we're not talking
information
about substantiate your burden of
from
We're
proof.
talking about an
moon?
artificial satellite. This isn't the sun and the moon. It's an artificial satellite, and
That's your
I
claim.
can find
You have
it.
to substantiate that.
I did. I found it.
No.
All I need
My
to do.
TV picks it up. My
Okay.
GPS picks it up.
I'm gonna claim that this cat is artificial because I found it in the street.
Now that is an example of an unsubstantiated claim. I can track down to when this satellite was launched. I can show
Okay,
you
so
a
how about I
picture
put
of the satellite,
this collar
and I
on
can
my
find
cat?
the satellite.
How about I put this microchip on my cat so I know where it's gonna be, right? And then I'm gonna find the
How
cat.
did you know where it came from?
And therefore the cat is
Percentage, you know what? I don't want to sound mean, but if you chip your cat, all it's going to tell you is its name, its unique identifier, its owner details, which is generally your name, maybe your address, and certainly a contact telephone number.
Not if I chip
I'll
it
say
with
let's
this
cut
GPS
open
chip.
to make sure it's not a fake cat.
All right, percentage. I have a GPS on my cat. All right. That GPS.
All right, so you find the cat, and therefore the cat is artificial.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Hold on,
And allows me to find the cat within 30 feet. So
Bob.
how does that work?
So is the cat
Bob.
artificial or not?
hold on, Bob, real quick. Can you find out where it's gonna be?
I can't find out where the cat's going to be.
Exactly.
You
Educated
can if
guess.
you're always going to
but I
the
do
same
know
locations all the
exactly.
time, like clockwork.
Nope. If I can see it, if I can see its path, I can predict its path, and I can find it in front of it.
If
Yeah,
you can
again.
see it. Maybe.
So
I can
let's
track
say
its path.
Let's say
See
you know it
coming down the
always.
street. I run in
let's
front of
say
it. There he is.
You know the cat always crosses the road. At
Where's this
this
cat?
time,
This is a
you know?
hypothetical cat.
That's,
All
yeah,
right,
it's a
here's the
predictive-
problem that you run
It's a
into
predictive
when
data
you're dealing
point,
with
as they
something
said,
at
or
random.
in
Stop
other words,
talking.
speculative data.
Hey, You talked. Now it's my turn. Now, with a cat, you can predict that this is his particular range, but you cannot predict an hour in the future that the cat will be on this front porch of this house. With a satellite in space, I can predict to the second when it will appear in an exact point in the sky.
How would you know?
That's
Maybe it's a
not the
very
same.
predictable cat.
I
Maybe
don't
you don't
believe
own a
that that
cat.
type of
It's
cat
always going to the
exists.
same location as this
Percentage,
cat.
I really don't. Cats, by their definition, are very unpredictable and very untrainable. They have patterns of things that they do, but I cannot say that if I look out of my house up into the sky towards the southwest on this date at this time, I will see the ISS starting to cross. No
Alright,
cat
so I agree
GPS
with
will
you.
give you that.
Cats, by nature, are unpredictable. Just like the celestial observances, the celestial phenomena in the sky, by nature, are not man-made.
Not all of them, but
Percentage.
some of them are.
Except for satellites in the ISS.
So if you're saying that this is the exception to the
Telescope.
rule, and this
No, I'm
celestial-
saying that there are
No.
probably
this is
somewhere
Dr.
between
Bob.
2,000 and 4,000 objects in, lowish Earth orbit that we've got circling around us. We've got some stuff out a little further, communication satellites in stationary orbit, and so
those are all
on.
positive
These
claims
objects
that
are
are
all man-made, and we have lots of evidence to show their production, their manufacture, their testing, the instrumentation that sits on them, their shipping
let's
out
not-
to the various
not elephant
places,
hurl.
the rockets that they went up with, the
Foolish,
they
let's not
started
elephant
communicating
hurl.
with, and so on. So how
Foolish, let's
much
not elephant hurl.
more
We'll talk to you about a
information do you
single
need
satellite.
to say it's reasonable?
We're talking about a single satellite. Let's not elephant
train
hurl
of satellites
and
of the
monologue.
Star Trek satellite
So-
link.
To Dr.
I can
Bob,
find dozens of satellites
hold up.
the
Okay,
same
so
way.
Dr. Bob, do you agree that the majority of celestial phenomenon are not man-made?
We're not talking about those. We're specifically talking about man-made satellites in orbit around the Earth.
No, we haven't established that they're man-made. You're trying to
Yes, we have.
ignore your burden of
Yeah,
proof
you
on that.
haven't.
You're trying to
No.
presuppose
I've
it.
met my
I don't
burden
like
of proof.
presuppositions,
You have
bro.
to explain it. No, I've met my burden of proof. You have
How?
to explain it.
You're saying because
We
we know
take
it's
pictures
where
of
it's
the
going to be,
ISS.
it's artificial. That's
Hold on.
inherently incorrect. It's patently false because
Percentage.
we know where the sun and the moon are going to be, and they're not artificial. Next.
Okay, so percentage, back up your claim that the moving lights in the sky, particularly the one Bob's talking about, is a natural phenomenon.
I said they're not artificial.
Okay.
I said the
You think that
celestial
changed what I
phenomenon,
just said?
not artificial. Okay. He's
So-
claiming they're
Not
artificial.
artificial. What?
He has the burden of proof on that.
You're
Not
claiming
artificial.
that they're
Negative
natural.
claim. I cannot prove something is not artificial unless I have omnisciency.
Oh, try again. You said it was natural.
Okay.
Well, I
what's
mean,
the difference
how do you
what's-
know they're
what's
not artificial?
Not artificial. If it's
How
not
do you know
artificial, then
How
what
do you
is
know
it?
they're not?
There's only one other alternative to not artificial. That's called
Fantastic.
natural, and you're trying to avoid saying that because it's a positive claim. But
Well,
you've
Hold up.
already
So
made
are
the
you guys
positive
contesting? Real quick, are you guys saying that the majority of the lights in the sky are unnatural?
No one said
or
don't
artificial?
straw man. Don't straw man. Don't
I'm
straw
not.
man.
We agreed that cats are mostly unpredictable, just like the celestial events are mostly natural or not artificial. If you're contesting that, then that's another thing.
What the fuck?
So, like, are you just saying satellites? Are you just saying satellites are not man-made? Is that your entire argument here?
No, his
He's claiming
argument
they're
is
not
that
satellites.
he spotted an artificial, a man-made satellite, and I'm asking for the burden of proof that the thing that he saw was actually man-made.
Well,
As
what did he
opposed
see?
to
He has not substantiated his burden of proof.
Well, what did he see?
As opposed to what?
Who's
He said
claiming
because
it?
he was able to locate it, it is
Who-
therefore
yeah, but
artificial.
who-
I said
who's
you can
claiming
locate
it?
them sun and the moon.
Who's
So
claiming it,
therefore,
and what is he saying
the
he
sun
saw?
and the moon is artificial by that
Yeah,
logic. which we
who's
know is
claiming
not
that? Who's claiming that, and what are they
Dr.
saying they
Bob.
saw? Okay, Dr. Bob, what did you see? Hello, Dr. Bob?
Here anymore. But he's just said that he knows
true.
that there's a way to know where those satellites are. He didn't
mean,
say
you-
that that's the reason
you'd
why
be-
they're artificial.
I think it's pretty simple. Like, if what he saw looks artificial and doesn't look like the other stuff we see up there, then that's pretty good. And if you have groups of people down here on Earth saying, "Oh yeah, we made something like that, and this is what we called it," and here are pictures of it, like that's pretty substantive.
I've seen boats and fish. There's a difference between those two.
I mean, if
Yeah,
percentage
but,
wants
I
to be in denial and say that those people are lying, then that's him. But that's him just denying evidence. But at that point, Dr. Bob will have met his burden of proof.
First off, he hasn't kind of given any images saying, like, this is what it looks like, and kind of alluding to how artificial it looks, which is also a subjective criterion.
Well, I mean,
some people
if-
might think something looks
now
more
artificial
than
subjective?
other people.
Yeah, but I mean, you're aware that they're in the space agencies and people who build satellites for people to be sent up into space. You're aware that there are industries dedicated to this, so it's not unreasonable for Dr. Bob to be saying what he's saying, and he may not feel the need to say exactly what it is and who produced
I'm aware
it.
that there are agencies that claim to be dedicated
I don't think
to it.
right, and the difference here is that you just don't believe them, and so I think it's unreasonable for you to act as though Dr. Bob has to do something more here, because you already know that from his point of view there are lots of artificial things in the sky. So
That's absolutely fine. As long as you can
pointless.
substantiate.
It's pointless. He will have substantiated it, and you're just going to be in denial of his
He has not
substantiation.
substantiated it at all. He claimed it. He said he implied that the reason that they were artificial was because he found them, because he had
No.
the predictive data points to be able to locate where they're going to be. That's the
Well,
implication.
He
made
asked
more than
you,
once.
how
Made
does
that
he know
implication 3
that where
times
they
on
are?
my count.
No,
well,
he didn't.
I mean, the
You
sun
guys
and the
can
moon are
listen
the
to
sun
the
and the
conversation.
moon. The sun and the moon are obvious, and they have a common known locations that they'll be. Whereas these satellites that are smaller, they move across the sky much faster. Those are less well known, and it's more impressive, it's more significant if he knows where those are going to be than it is the sun and the
maybe
moon.
about as significant as the wandering stars, maybe.
No, it's far less significant than that, or far more significant than that, because the wandering stars are much more known as well. Less well than the sun and the moon, but still much more known than a satellite. And you know that. So like
I honestly don't know
it's kind of ridiculous and pedantic of you to be making this argument.
I think you're making an argument from emotion. You haven't actually given any logical reason why what I'm asking for is, ridiculous or
Because
pedantic.
because there are agencies that are dedicated to
That's an appeal
creating
to
satellites.
consensus.
Yes, which you deny. You deny
Yes,
that
because I
that
haven't
these
seen
you deny
actual
the validity. No, hang on.
substantive
Just let me finish
evidence.
talking. Let me
Go
finish
ahead.
talking. You're denying that these agencies are doing what they say they're doing. So of course you're not going to find it substantive. But Dr. Bob
Incorrect.
does not.
No,
Dr.
hold up.
Bob.
One second.
Oh, you deny.
Because
you
I'm
don't
denying
deny
it, you cannot infer a conclusion just on account of me denying it. Once it's denied, a burden of proof is substantiated from the person making the positive claim, the ones that say that these space agencies or what have you are reliable or doing what they claim to be doing, and then we go from there. We infer the conclusion from there. But you can't just infer the conclusion on account of me denying only. That's a non sequitur.
No, it's not a non sequitur.
It definitely is.
You don't believe that the space agencies are actually doing what they're saying they're doing.
Yeah, that's why I deny it. That's why I want the burden of proof to be fulfilled. To automatically say because you deny it. Hold up. To automatically say because you deny it, there's no point in this or what have you.
Well, that's absolutely
honestly
true.
It's a form. Hold up, let me finish.
No,
it's a form
but there
of
is no
an argument
point.
from ignorance. You're saying because it can't be proven to you, therefore it's gonna remain whatever you're claiming.
Well,
that's not true.
That's not an argument.
If you have the burden of proof.
That's not an argument for ignorance, but
it's kind of like the same thing. It's not exactly
no,
an
it's
argument
not.
from ignorance. Argument from ignorance is basically
it's an acknowledgement
because there's no proof one way or another. We're gonna maintain what it is. But
Dude,
you're saying because
shut up.
you're gonna deny it. It's
no.
gonna be this.
The issue is that there's nothing else to talk about. You deny the substantiation, and that's all there is to it.
No, that's another argument from ignorant. From an emotion, bro.
Okay, how
No,
about
it
this?
isn't.
Just because it's rejected, doesn't
mean,
mean you stop there.
You're
That's
you're just
like,
you're just
you know,
being unreasonable.
lazy.
No,
That's lazy.
you're being lazy. You're trying
No,
to have
you're being
you're trying
intellectually lazy. You're saying because you're
percentage. You're
denying
trying to
it,
have an
let's just stop
argument,
there.
and there
Let's
isn't
go home.
there isn't an argument to be had. You disagree with the entire premise of the substantiation, so there's nothing to talk
No
about.
evidence has been brought up.
I mean that's just
We haven't even gotten
dishonest.
to the meat of
That's
it.
dishonest. It's one thing to say that no evidence has been brought up. It's another to say that you don't accept the evidence that has been
What
brought up.
evidence has been brought up to substantiate that they are artificial
the existence
things?
of the space industry.
Again, that's an argument from a appeal to consensus.
What?
Right. So
And
you're just giving an excuse to deny the substantiation. Okay, it's one
Existence
thing.
of something.
It's one
listen,
thing.
Existence of the claim,
let me,
or an
dude,
agency that
would
makes the claim,
would you
is
let
not
somebody?
evidence of
Would
the
you
thing.
please let me finish?
You need to make sense, bro.
No, I'm making perfect sense.
Go ahead.
I'm making perfect sense, dude.
If you say
You got to stop. You got to
Do you
stop
really think so?
steamrolling. You got to stop steamrolling through
Just
people.
listen to that. Come on.
Do you really think
It's
you're
very
making
it's
sense?
very difficult. It's very difficult to maintain a flow of thought when you have somebody talking through you the entire time.
By all means,
That's
have
the
as much
intent.
time as you want.
Well, unfortunately, I've lost what I was saying, and it's no longer pertinent because
Well,
you
let me
moved
remind
the
you.
subject of the conversation along.
No, the subject remains
So,
the same. And let me
I have
remind you
one.
what you were saying. You were saying the evidence that we have that's been made or established is that there's the existence of these space agencies. I'm saying that's fallacious. That's fallacious because the existence of
How
the
is
claim
that
or an
fallacious?
agency that makes the claim, which is still just the claim by proxy, is not evidence of the claim.
It is evidence of the claim.
No, it isn't. That's an appeal to consensus. It's not evidence. Just to
That's
have
not
an agency
Stop
that
using
makes the claim
fallacies
doesn't mean
incorrectly,
anything.
man.
So, I mean, you're just in denial of it, man. It's not. It might not be like the same thing as going up there and taking a picture of it right next to it and then coming back down and proving that you made that trip. It's not as strong a proof as that, but it's still evidence.
Who am I speaking to
that
right now?
it's still. You're speaking to Lewis. It's still.
Lewis.
No, stop talking. Let me
Sorry, go
fucking
ahead,
finish
go
a
ahead.
sentence, you fucking idiot.
Well,
It's
relax.
still.
You cut out. Anyways, Lewis, if one person's making the claim and then a group of people make the claim, it's still just an assertion of the claim. If a
What's
person makes a
evidence
claim,
in your world
and then a group,
percentage?
and then an agency makes the claim, and then people
Let-
make
you
the
you
claim
might think
because
you
the
might
agency
think that
makes
a
the
bunch
claim,
of
it's still
people.
just reassertion of the claim. It's never evidence at that point.
What's the
We
evidence
need
you need?
evidence.
It is evidence, though.
You
No, it's
need?
not. That's an appeal to
Yes, it is. They have
consensus.
video,
Just
they have
because people make the
footage.
claim doesn't make it
They have-
true.
They have pictures. They
What's
have video. They show us actual substantiated evidence. They have eyewitness reports of evidence.
All right,
Claim
let's not
evidence.
elephant hurl. We could go one at a time.
And just
If you
because
wanna-
you call
if
it,
you
let
wanna
me just finish. Let me just
handle
finish.
the
Let me just finish,
debate
percent.
from
Let me
Lewis,
just finish
that's
before
cool
you
too.
interrupt again, like you're
Good
doing,
luck with
everybody. Just because you say it's consensus, an appeal to consensus, which is not true, by the way. But even if it was, that doesn't make it not evidence.
Yes, it does.
It's not as if you can say appeal to consensus and it makes everything about it invalid. It's not true at all.
Literally, an appeal to consensus.
No,
is
it
not
isn't,
evidence.
actually.
It's not
When you
logical.
have video
it's
footage
not
and you have
reasonable
pictures,
evidence. It's
when you
a
have video footage,
fallacious thing.
when you have video footage and pictures, it makes it not a appeal to consensus.
Okay, so
appeal
yeah,
to evidence.
Actually,
I agree
Scott,
with
can I
you.
ask you
I
a
agree
quick
with
question? Just because I know you've got a better skill set than me. So I did a bit of statistics. I know you've done more. I mean, I
Hold up,
always
let me just,
thought that data
Foolish, I
was
promise I'll address what
could
you're going
be
to say right after
predictive
I
as
address
well as
what Scott
post.
says, okay? Let me just address
I'm
what
sure I was
Scott
in the middle
says.
of a sentence there, wasn't I?
Why the fuck?
Well, I was responding to Scott, and then you kind of just like rolled into there. So I'll give you all the
Well, you
the
really
you
didn't
need.
stop
Let me
and
just say
you
to
didn't let me
Scott.
talk. Was that you were over talking me the
Scott,
entire time?
Yeah, I agree with you
Like
completely.
this droning voice in the
legitimate,
background.
if you have legitimate and verifiable pictures and videos, then yes, that would constitute evidence. But it's important to make a clear
There it
distinction
is,
here
right there.
between agencies claiming to have evidence or claiming
Percentage.
that this is real versus actually having that stuff.
Well, we
we
did
have to
mention we did mention all of the pictures as well.
No, it was just mentioned now. I believe.
You're aware that there are pictures of satellites, right?
Yeah, I'm aware that there are pictures of satellites.
Okay, all right, and you acknowledge that those are artificial.
No.
You don't. Okay. Well, then there's no point talking to you because you're just in
That's an argument
denial.
for
You're
emotion
just
there.
in denial of all of the evidence. Period.
That's fine.
That's what they say
So-
when you kill them. Oh, there's no point in talking to you because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
winning.
So
There's a menu. there's a actual
percentage. If
looking
it's not,
things in
if
there.
it's not artificial satellites, it must be one of the stars that Yosef dreamed about, right?
False dichotomy.
What?
That's a false dichotomy.
What false?
See,
What's
no matter
false?
what you say,
You're saying
It's not
if it's not-
artificial. Therefore, it's a star, right? A wandering star,
I think it's very telling.
and
that
it's
he
one of
answered-
the
that he answered that
stars that's
seriously.
missing, that you found missing. We can find a few more if you need.
Yeah.
This guy
Thank you
is,
for
reminding
this
me.
guy is
Everyone-
incapable.
Everyone,
claim- You
it's
claim
official.
that there
incapable
are
of
missing
differentiating
planets, right?
absurd
Is that
things from
Chike?
unabsurd things.
Chaiki, thank you for reminding me. Everyone, it's official. We have 3 new planets. Pluto's back,
Right.
baby. Vesta.
This guy
and
this guy
Ceres.
cannot
Pluto's not
differentiate
back.
sincerity and insincerity.
What are you talking about, man?
What are you talking about, man?
So
Talking
you have
about
no
you.
argument for
Pluto,
missing planets.
Vesta, Ceres.
That
are-
we
are
we
back.
took that off the
This-
table.
This guy jokingly jided him about the satellite and wandering stars, and he answered sincerely.
No, I just want
Or
to
maybe
remove
you
one
can
argument
engage
from the
sincerity
table.
and
He
sarcasm.
said there are some planets missing, and we found them, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, we did.
Yep. We can knock that one out of the park. Hell yeah,
Exactly.
brother.
We already did.
So is the
All 3.
percentage? Is the assertion
Bases
that like
loaded. All
Starlink?
3.
since you've never looked through a telescope, how do you know what's out there?
When did I claim not to have looked into a telescope?
I can pretty much bet
Or out of a
that
telescope?
you've never looked into the telescope.
Really? Do you have any evidence for that claim?
Yes.
Yeah, you.
Me? Me is evidence for the claim.
Yeah,
Wow,
you're a
the bar is
fucking
low with that guy.
ignorance.
I don't know if you guys even deserve to like have Pluto, Vesta, and Ceres as planets.
It's not.
Like,
Oh,
I don't know
no.
what you guys have done to deserve that
Percentage.
And that's
that prestige.
Pocunnage. Is there do you claim, like with the Starlink has a very distinctive tone to it. Do you claim that those have always been there? Or what? Because like we say that we're going to put 900 satellites up in a particular orbit, and then we see trains of satellites going by. Do you think that those have always been there and nobody noticed?
Okay, 2 things. Number 1, where's the substantiation that they put that many?
The
2?
trains of satellites going by, and that's what I'm trying to differentiate. Do
Yeah,
you think that
trains
those are a
satellites-
natural occurrence?
the live
that
videos of them
suddenly those
deploying
new
them.
stars appeared,
All right.
or
so
that those stars have
I got
always
you.
been there and nobody noticed?
That's another false dichotomy.
I'm asking you, what do you
that
think?
these
Could you
lights
please
are
then
in
please
space.
differentiate? Tell me what these new things in the sky that are asserted to be Starlink, what are they?
If you're saying that they're in the sky, that's absolutely fine. I will agree that there are lights in the sky. I don't know.
Okay,
when,
no, I'm
you know,
talking
if they're
about new lights.
or not.
What are those new lights? Are they artificial, man-made things?
Are they? I don't know that.
The big train. People get upset about it all the time.
Percentage.
Well, Percentage has a winning strategy here. All he has to do is bury his head in the sand, and then he can claim everything's an argument
No, all I
from
need
authority.
to do is ask for evidence, and you guys don't have any. So yeah. it
Yeah,
is a
but
winning
as long
strategy.
as you bury your head in the sand forever, anything that we bring up, you can say, "Oh, that's just consensus. That's just authority. I don't know about that. You can't prove that."
The only thing I'm burying is these weak
Do you use
arguments.
GPS?
Yeah,
Do you
no,
use
seriously.
GPS?
Here's the
guys-
thing: if you bothered to actually pay attention, you're ostensibly interested in, then you would be able to know that Starlink was not up there before and now is.
Your
Nah.
arguments are just weak and
I don't
percentage is
pay
killing you.
attention.
Okay, how about you,
Right.
Jeremy?
I mean,
Can
there's
you
things up
answer
there
what-
going 17,000 miles an hour. That's been verified.
Yeah, you're right, Jeremy. They're weak to entitled people who have an infinite sense of self-worth and no curiosity in the world whatsoever.
That was an ad hom. fallacy.
I think
don't know
it was.
whether it's taken
I
as
think
a
it was an
compliment or not.
accurate. It was an accurate description.
Almost every argument you have is fallacious at the bottom of it. So
Okay, Jeremy, what is your thought? These things that we claim are satellites, they're satellite trained from Elon Musk, Starlink. Are they just things that we don't understand up in the sky that we've always been there and nobody ever noticed?
Are you claiming they're in space?
I'm not
Yes,
asking
they're
that. I'm not even asking
Where's the
that.
substantiation?
I can tell you how far away they are, and I can tell you that they're moving 17,000 miles an hour, and I can tell you that they didn't exist
I don't want you to
20
tell
years
me
ago.
stuff. That's just reassertion of the claim. Show me.
Where they be
Where's the
impossible, they can't
evidence?
be in this atmosphere because they would be ripped apart. Nothing can.
Then
that
don't act
can-
like
can be in this
don't act like
atmosphere.
that hasn't been shown to you.
It couldn't be a train of like a helium balloon.
Not moving 17,000
17,000 miles an hour.
It doesn't have to be moving that quick.
Yes, it does.
But they are.
You cut
It's
out.
moving 17,000 miles an hour. You look when it passes overhead, and then you look where it passes over the next guy's head. It's moving 17,000 miles an hour.
I'd like to see substantiation of that.
No problem.
Don't act like you haven't seen it.
I
I
have.
think the question is if they are
Actually-
natural or not.
so-
It doesn't matter if
you
they are
guys-
helium balloons.
Quick fun fact. I actually went to the Starlink tracker and looked at where it was going to be above my head, and I couldn't see jack shit. And then I went to
Because
the
there were
website again,
clouds in the
and
way,
it
probably,
said,
right?
No,
It's not-
there were no clouds. It was clear sky. And
Were
I
your
went to the
eyes
website again,
open?
and it said, may not be able to be seen. There was like a little.
Maybe the sun's at the wrong
asterisk.
angle, 'cause that's where we
Yes.
see it.
Where do you live? Where do you live, percentage?
I'm in the UK.
Yes, but where? You know, in the city, it would be very, very hard to see them.
Convenient.
Oh, convenient.
True.
The chances
But
that
I
look at the
countryside,
sky. I
in the
don't
city
see
are
stars.
Like
I can
95
see.
to 5.
Listen, I can see 1 or 2 stars in the sky. Can't see more. Why?
That's an argument.
Because
for
the
ignorance.
sky are red. That's why I can't see them.
Oh, it's like where I live, percentage. You know, I get reasonably decent night skies here because I'm right on the edge of my village. But when I go out to, say, you know, the Ridgeway or out to somewhere like Uffington, because there is nothing out there, and there are not even street lights out there because they're trying to keep it dark. You know, they're trying to keep the night sky. The night sky is amazing. What you
I
can
knew
see
you were the
is
hermit that
10
lived at
times
the
more.
edge of the village.
You're interrupting.
I
You're interrupting. You're
almost
interrupting.
finished there before you interrupted me. Well done, percentage. Almost finished.
I'm getting better, right?
No, you're just still the same asshole for it.
Yeah, but you're not the one getting muted for it.
I
We are.
apologize, Foolish.
No, that's right. I know you don't always do it maliciously.
I was a little eager to make that joke.
We all get hyped up, mate, and I'm not going to throw stones in that house.
Out of all the venues that you've been to, percentage, and all the places that you've argued at, there are several instances where people have presented things that are moving at 17,000 miles up there. To say that you haven't been presented it is dishonest.
I haven't been presented the evidence that things are.
Well, here it is
actually
in the chat
17,000
yet
miles.
again, because you've seen this like 5 times at least.
just because something's moving 17,000 miles an hour in the sky does not mean it's doing an orbit. All that means is you have something moving 17,000 miles an hour in the sky.
And
It means
was
for
predicted
fucking
by
sure.
the
It means for sure that it's not a helium balloon.
Wait, what's the time unit that we're talking? 17,000 miles per day, per hour, per second? What?
Per hour.
Hour, dumbass.
Okay, that changes.
You know this. This has been described to you 1,000 times. Unless you haven't listened to
No, because I've heard the
just ignore
ISS being
everything
described
that's
as
said.
7,200 meters per second or something like that. So I needed to.
Then
clarify.
mine only lasts
17,000
4
miles an
minutes.
hour. 17.5.
Yeah, see, that's what you guys do. You guys try to make it all sound like catchy and cool. 17.5, just so you can indoctrinate the people more. You know, so it's easier to program them.
But it's still been presented to you.
17.5.
You have brain damage?
So there's something
Just make
that
it catchy
wasn't
and
there
just
20
so
years ago that is
conditioned.
there now, moving 17,000 miles an hour. Right after we told you it was going to be there. Okay.
That doesn't prove anything. All that proves is you have something.
Nothing.
In the sky
No,
that
no,
moves,
no.
Hey, all that proves is you have something in the sky that moves 17,000 miles an hour. That
And it's
doesn't
man-made.
orbits or Moyak. That doesn't prove that it's orbit or Earth's sphere or anything. All that proves is there's something in the sky moving very fast.
Jeremy,
Yeah,
you
it's
may-
not a helium balloon or a drone.
yeah, the only
Yo,
way
this-
you would accept those things have gone up in a rocket is probably for you to be watching it as it goes up, watching the people load it in there, making sure it all goes in, and doing all these things yourself. You don't want to take the word of anybody. Now, if you think the world is that awful and nothing is reliable and nothing can be validated, then I suggest you switch off your computer because you have no
It's
idea
an
how it got
argument
there.
from ridiculousness.
It's not.
Let's
It's,
apply.
it's, it's a logical. It's called a logical change, Jeremy.
Let's
That's
apply
right,
Jeremy's
that
logic.
is
If you see water in front of objects, that's what you see. Water in front of objects. So welcome to the globe. I'm applying your logic, Jeremy.
Oh, when you see the sun setting below the horizon, you're not seeing it disappear into the distance. You're seeing the sun setting below the horizon, Jeremy. Then, aren't you?
Speaking of sun
I mean,
setting,
that's his logic.
who right now has night? Who's someone that's active in the server where it's night?
Australia.
For them?
6 p.m. for me, so it's still sunny.
All right, so it's almost going to be nighttime for you. My challenge to you is to look up the Starlink tracker and get the Starlinks in your sights tonight.
They don't come here.
They come everywhere.
No, they
To
don't.
the plane.
No, no one says that.
You just don't really check on any of that stuff before you
It's
talk to
supposed to go
you.
like everywhere.
No, they go in the
Not
places
yet,
they
they
go,
don't.
and the orbits don't show everywhere, dummy.
So you can't do it. Anyone that has night that can do it.
I can attest based on Minecraft, they don't come here.
So what do you
I
think
have-
that,
No,
Jeremy,
not
what
a
do you think
single
that
person
laser
is going to
beam
be
thing
able
is
to
that's going across the
locate
street?
and see these Starlink lights. They did it. They put this stuff in the air, in the sky, when they made the announcement.
You can.
Maybe a few days after that, then they lied and said, "Oh, astronomers are complaining about noise, so we have to reduce the brightness."
Where is your verifiable
And then they
proof for that
reduced the
claim?
brightness.
Where is the
AKA
evidence of that
They-
claim?
just stopped showing
separation.
it.
So you're allowed to make wild conjecture percentage, but we're not.
Yeah,
'Cause
as
that
long
was
as I'm
wild
not making
conjecture
a
you just
positive
did.
claim, it's absolutely
It couldn't
fine.
reduce the
Well, he couldn't
brightness.
even hear his whole wild conjecture.
They separate
You
him in
guys cut
distance.
him off, Dross, after
Idiot.
complaining he cut you off last time.
I have done it.
What the fuck?
I have done
That was
it.
all cool.
Percentage, so you're okay. So what's your point? I have done it, and they appeared
Let's see it.
exactly
Do it
as
today.
reported.
They had addressed the issue of the Starlink satellites.
Yeah, they make a claim. So again,
You wanna
You thought
see
they were
satellites
bright
today,
tonight?
at
No,
night,
they
in the
weren't
next
bright.
hour.
Would you like
No,
to
just
see
kidding. It doesn't have to be the
satellites
next
tonight?
hour. But someone, in the next few hours, show us this thing in the sky. Show us that's actually
Would
happening,
you like
because
to
I
see them
doubt it.
tonight? Would you like to see them tonight?
I would like to see them as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that will be tonight. You can come to my channel, and I will be live streaming
Yo,
satellite.
my girl just said I'm a cool cat.
How do we know
Yeah,
you're not CGIing him,
So
Bob?
I'm going to be doing it. Go.
What's up?
Don't waste your time with them, Bob. They're a bunch of idiots. Ruin them over them anything.
Idiot. Calling him on his idiocy. I'm doing it tonight. Are you going to be there to watch?
Sure, man. If you're recording it, let's do this.
I'm not recording it. I'm not
How the
recording
hell?
it. I'm doing it
How am I
live
gonna watch?
on YouTube.
Live.
Okay,
I
so
will
that's,
live stream the telescope.
yeah, that's recording it, live stream.
Live stream is recording.
Real time.
Yep,
It is real time. So you don't have an excuse.
real time recording.
I'll even move the telescope around as you request to prove that it's live time.
It's not a recording if it's live.
I didn't say a recording. It is recording, the verb, to record something.
Yeah, so
It's
we're
easy.
recording now when we're
Recorded,
talking,
live stream.
right? Okay, so we have a recorded phone call right now.
Yes.
Technically, yes,
Ah,
but you don't
interesting.
have to. If Jim doesn't refresh the server every couple of days, it's not recording, but it still works the same.
So are you going to be there to look at satellites tonight and continue to raise
Yes,
your
if you're
silly
going to be
objections?
showing us the Starlink going up above your head, I will
I don't
watch
know
your
if it'll
live
be
stream.
Starlink. We'll have to find out if Starlink's coming overhead, but something's going to be coming overhead.
No, we want Starlink.
Oh, there's the goalposts fucking running
No, that's
again.
what we were talking about. You guys
Nah,
claimed that the train of Starlink was up there, and I'm saying
And just because we show you
conveniently,
what's going to
can't
prove
see
to you
it.
that it
I
is
said I tried
Starlink.
to see it. I couldn't see it. So yes, I'd like substantiation that these train of lights, which are very unique, they can't be anything else, right?
That's
are up
correct.
there.
I'll see if Starlink's coming over tonight. If it is, we'll get a shot of it. How's that sound?
Fantastic. That's absolutely phenomenal.
how about 10:55?
Not coming over. Look at other ones.
Pun intended.
At 10:55, there was an image posted, a GIF. What do you think of that?
I'm not looking at my phone, to be honest.
You can look at it now. 10:55.
I'm kind of busy right now. Could you just tell me what it is?
Easy.
I already did tell you what it was. Did you actually listen to the words?
You said something about an image at 10:55 in the chat.
And I said, which is Starlink going overhead.
10:55. Who posted it?
I also said that. 10:55,
Is
left
it-
lane.
Is it like a fresh image? Someone just got it right now?
Let's see, what's the date time on this thing?
Come on, man. Don't waste my time.
Your time is a waste. Your life is a waste.
I don't know what that
And
means.
it's wasting the VC.
It means you don't have a life.
Anybody who thinks they're involved in any kind of a debate or a serious discussion with these
Nope.
fuck knuckles, you're more deluded than the flat earthers.
Did you use the
I
word
agree
users
with
on
that.
purpose?
I agree
This
with
is
that.
nothing but entertainment for these knuckleheads trying to just fucking annoy people.
Hold
That's
up.
it.
Why
That's
can't
what they
we
live
have
for.
an
Jeremy and Pocahontas
Curve,
live to annoy people.
Curve, why can't we
Enjoy.
have an intellectual debate and be entertained
Because
at the same time? Enjoy
you
ourselves at the same
don't.
time. No, you're making it mutually
Have an
exclusive,
intellectual
and
debate
you are wrong to
percentage.
do that, sir.
You're involved.
Absolutely goddamn wrong.
You're not funny, Pocahontas.
You cannot have an intellectual debate with flat Earth because it's not an intellectual or a scientific subject. It's silliness.
Comedy.
Flat Earth,
Well,
you
it
mean
appears to
flat
be a
horizon.
debate about the nature of
straight.
light and why objects appear to be cut off bottom first.
Lemon, post the size and the distance to the sun, or the distance to the sun.
It,
Okay,
And to the
Lemon,
moon.
you're back. How far
Yep.
can I see with that telescope?
Yep.
it wasn't working. The calculations weren't panning out.
Right, they're not
shit.
working because they didn't give you the answers you wanted, did they?
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to see if it could
What
work on
answer did
small
it give you, Lemon?
scales. What was that?
answer did it give you? What answer did it give you, Lemon?
I didn't get an answer at all. I needed height 1 and height 2, so I'm wondering how I got those numbers before. My mind's so jumbled, but I need to double
Height
check. the
1
manual.
is 6 feet. Height 2 is 6 feet when the moon's on the horizon. So how far can I see?
Yo, Dr. Bob, he conceded the claim. So, be humble in victory and defeat. He conceded it. Take the victories where you can.
Let me see. 11. I had a horizon forming at 11 miles for the telescope. So 11 times that number. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, God.
I was trying to save you from this, Lemon. I don't know why you're going.
Trying to come up with a formula for how the horizon can cut off an object, but it's not quite panning out. I need height 2 and height 1, so I need to assume the moon's at a certain height anyway. I can't use it to find a height.
6 feet.
For
on the horizon.
yeah, for H1, yeah, but I need an H2 anyway. I can't have two variables.
H2
I
is
need
6 feet because it's on the horizon.
yeah, it's not working.
All right. So
What's the second variable
your
that you don't know?
formula doesn't work.
H2, I need to assume a height for the moon anyway.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out. What's the second variable?
I can't have two variables.
I'm
can't
asking
solve
you,
for
what's
two
the second unknown variable that is therefore not allowing you to have do this calculation? H2 is unknown. What else is unknown? Lemon.
Your math.
H1 is 6. H2 is the unknown, but I can't set it up equal to anything. It gives me a number that I gotta multiply times the vanishing point, but I need the height also, so it's not working.
I keep telling you 6 feet is the height of the moon because it's on the horizon. It's at your eye level.
Because it would be the log of x over 6 feet or whatever, divided by the log of 2. But I can't set it equal to anything, so at that point the equation stops. So
How many times do I have to tell you the height H2 is 6 feet because it's at your eye level on the horizon?
well, right. Yeah, but at that point the equation stops. I can't go from there. So I'm still working on it.
Well, we're looking forward to the paper in Nature.
I wish.
Lemon, would your maths mean that if I zoom in on the horizon, it would move further away from me?
I think that would happen, period math or not. That's what we see.
So if I zoom out, I can have a horizon that's like 1 meter in front of me.
The objects will pop out of the horizon, and the horizon will move further back infinitely.
Infinitely. So if I have a very big telescope, I can see thousands of miles.
You need to be at the center of the telescope to focus the light. Otherwise, you'd be at the bottom of the telescope where the light would still focus at the level of the eyes anyway. So unless you could levitate up into the air for like a 50-mile wide telescope, that's going to be practically useless. I guess it would be like, what, you're 6 feet high, 6 feet and below, for it to be at the level of the eyes without you getting higher.
Why would I need to get higher?
You need to be center of the focusing power of the optic. Otherwise, you're not going to get the image to be.
What do you mean with that?
Normally, don't you need to be at the center of an optic for the focusing? If you're dealing with a 50-mile wide telescope, you need to be 50 miles high, don't you? Or whatever.
I didn't say. When did I say 50-mile wide?
You just gave an example.
How big is the telescope that you're talking about? 50 miles, 500 miles? How big? You need to be at the center of that optic.
Well, we can take something that an observatory has.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
Yeah, so on the from the top of Tenerife, I think I should be able to see. Huh? That's an observatory. It's in the Mount.
Tenerife, is that the Canary Islands?
Yeah. If I take their telescope, can I zoom in on USA?
If we point it over the land, maybe. Yes, we'd have to try it.
Okay.
I
I
believe
don't
the
think
CIA makes
you
it.
can lower it that much.
Be too much light interference. You
It could
wouldn't be
be.
able to see anything from the telescope. Be pointing it straight across. You have to go in the sky.
Have any telescopes been pointed straight across the flat level land?
And pick anything up?
Excuse me, please. Super chat from JD for $4.99, and this says Lemon lying for Christ.
What was that?
So this is a super chat from JD for $4.99, and he says, the super chat says Lemon lying for Christ. Thank you very much, JD, for your super chat. Lemon, it's all yours.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a mitzvah.
So here's my question. What's worse? A lot of light interference or a little heavy interference?
A lot of light interference, I guess.
If you're trying to see something that's in the dark or something far away, you don't want a lot of light involved. Like the little binoculars, real small, but the little telescope or the things you pull out and you look across the small distance across the small diameters. You want to look far away and big diameters. You don't want light into it because it's going to bring too much light and wash it all out. You won't see anything.
Well, I wanted to see if my equation could yield any sort of meaningful calculation. Dr. Bob, can you see about 11 miles over the flat level land with that telescope of yours for 6 feet and below?
I don't look. I don't look over a flat and level land. I look over a spherical Earth, and I can see much farther than 11 miles. Yes.
Over the land, straight out.
Yeah, I can see more than 11 miles over land. Yes.
Yo, do
How
you guys
far
want to
can you
take
see?
bets? Sorry, go ahead, Lemon.
Well, the clouds that I'm looking at the horizon are about 50 miles away,
Can you
and the
see?
moon
Mhm.
on the horizon is 250,000 miles away.
What if you turned it 90 degrees of it? Just turn it so it's pointing straight, like down the street. How much would you be able to see?
Probably the
stupid,
house
right?
at the end of the street. Probably the house
There
at the end
you
of the
go.
street.
You
Because
probably
it's
definitely
an
see the neighbor
obstruction.
changing.
They
You
don't
wouldn't be
really
able to
like you
focus on it.
looking at houses with telescopes.
So, Dr. Bob, I expected you to see 11 miles for something 6 feet or below with your telescope. Does that match the specs about right that you could see what something 6 feet or below up to 11 miles?
No, it doesn't.
How short are the objects that you can see at 11 miles and beyond?
Well, let's see. I can see objects on the moon that are about 2 kilometers in diameter.
Toward the level of the eyes, you get most of the sandwiching and the smushing. That's why I wanted you to look straight out over the flat level
On the
land.
horizon, I can see objects that are on the order of 2 kilometers in diameter. I can easily see objects that are 25 kilometers in diameter.
Can you see those objects
On
close
the
to the
horizon.
level?
On the horizon.
Let me see what would be 6 feet or below. Can you see a flagpole that's sticking up out of the ground 11 miles away with your telescope?
Now, would you look top to bottom or left to right on that?
Top to bottom. I'm trying to get a 6 foot
How
object.
wide is the flagpole?
How wide? I guess I've seen flagpoles that are what, 2 inches in diameter? Maybe 3?
Let's make it 4. So you're asking me to see something that is 4 inches thick. From how far?
I guess with your telescope 11 miles away, but I'm focusing on the vertical height, the 6 footish
You
vertical
can't
height.
do that. It's a combination of vertical and horizontal height, and it's only 4 inches wide. Now I can see a light on top and bottom of the flagpole, yes, but I may not be able to see the flagpole itself because it's too thin.
And you just see the light, no. All right.
You thought about that, right?
Right. I guess it would be too thin, yeah. Trying to think of something maybe a little thicker, like, I don't know, a door, maybe?
Stop
Yes, I
hunting
can
submarines.
Must have been busy. The patients are calling.
Lemon, what about the fact that sun doesn't change in angular size? How does that fit in your calculations?
I don't fit that in there. I've seen video where it changes with or without a filter, so that's not a problem for me.
Yeah, but what about the videos where it doesn't change?
I'd expect that. I'd expect that since it's higher up. Basically, as you get higher, you get much more wider angles, so the horizon moves out, and objects disappear due to angular size before reaching that far horizon. But if you get closer to the flat surface and lower in elevation, the opposite occurs. The horizon's moved in by compressed angles, and objects tend to maintain their size while setting early behind the brought in close horizon.
Yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo.
Hey, Lisa.
Lemon, you're doing all this math, but what kind of math do you got for the way the camera lens messes with perspective?
I just get more pieces of vision. The math is pretty simple. If you just take the range of the eye, 60 degrees, and divide by the angular resolution of whatever you're using. The eye is 0.02, so 60 divided by 0.02 is 3,000 pieces. So that basically says that if you multiply an object times 3,000 times its height, you're going to get a vanishing point where one of those 3,000.02 degree pieces is going to disappear toward the level of the eyes, roughly. So a camera magnifies that by like 10, so you get like 30,000 pieces or whatever instead.
No, I'm talking about the amount the lens messes with the perspective ratios in the image you're seeing. How do you do the math for that?
It would bring stuff in, and it might mess with the triangles, but I don't know. I'm still trying to work this stuff out. Because if
that
you bring
varies from camera to camera, lens to lens. So I mean, I don't know how you would even do the math on that.
And also, it's the question still remains: are we peering into a zone, that's compressed or not? Will the triangles hold, or will the triangles, like you say, change proportion?
That's true.
Even that's a theoretical nightmare.
Hold on, just like Soundly's picture of the hotels with the compression. How do you do the math for that?
Yeah,
there's so many variables here. I feel like your efforts are futile. Kyle? I don't know.
It's a little bit of an exploration because we got to see how this light works and how it even behaves on the eye. But I think we could explore a little bit here. The general principle is everything appears to smush toward the level of the eyes. We could try to get triangles off of that, but even then, I guess we'd kind of still be begging the question.
What causes things to spread out widthwise in a picture?
Sorry, what did you say?
What causes things to spread out across widthwise in a picture? So instead of a couple of things being in a line, something that should be within the same line is actually far to the left or far to the right.
Oh, the parallax. This light's trying to crowd into your eye. I guess your brain's trying to interpret the image while keeping it nice and proportional, left, right, up, and down, relationships being, maintained, where this light is crowding into your eye. I don't know. I guess the question would be,
you see a map and you see here's the tower, here's the roller coaster. It's only about a difference of about maybe less than 50 feet difference, left to right. But in the picture, it's over a mile difference.
That could be the camera focusing in. I mean, when the camera focuses into a zone, it appears to spread stuff out and kind of push it out of the way. You're probably peering into a zone of light and kind of separating it a little bit by the optic, but I don't know. When you shove the light out of the way, that changes the proportion of the objects relative to each other and makes them look like they're spread apart just by zooming in.
You saw the Blackpool picture?
The Blackpool picture? I need to see the zoom of the optic. I don't know the zoom of the optic.
I got that information too. But that roller coaster should be to the right of the roller coaster, and the tower just slightly. But in fact, in that picture, it's far to the left. So is the roller coaster, the other ice tower, or whatever it's called.
I just don't know why everyone keeps forgetting Soundly's hotel pictures. Like even with his powerful camera, when he zoomed in, he was losing information essentially with the doors of the hotel as they approached the horizon. What's the? I don't know.
Well, when you look down the hall, you can derive some of these principles anyway. Because the floor ramps up and the ceiling ramps down. That would lead one to assume that everything's going to smash. And taller objects are probably going to smash a bit more slowly, but they're still going to, go Hulk smash.
But usually the sky's not going to come down and smash into you. It's not the same as a hotel room or a hotel hallway.
I only use that language to point out the fact that it's going to smash your level line too. That, even with a theodolite, you'll have a nice level line for a while, but then it will go Hulk smash and be crushed under a bigger visual zone. So you're going to be sighting effectively above where your level line was before it smashed, smushed, mushed, and disappeared.
You have no shame, none whatsoever.
None.
Get a pair of binoculars and look down that same hallway, Lemon.
You can bring some of it back, but it's like pulling
no
something
matter-
out of the horizon.
No matter what truth you bring, it doesn't affect him. He does.
Soundly had binoculars.
Incorrigible liar.
Smashed. Sorry, Kurt.
Hulk smash.
So, Soundly had powerful telescopes and lenses and zoom, and it's still smushed.
What's mush?
The hotel room floors. You don't remember Soundly's picture?
That still smushed. Jesus. What
The
information
hotel
was
like a virgin
lost, Jeremy?
pressed better.
Jeremy, what information was lost?
I'm not saying
The
it's lost,
information
it's
that was
unresolvable.
below the horizon.
No, the floors themselves, information was lost in the floors because
It's not lost.
the top floors, it was unresolvable. The top floors were larger than the bottom floors as they approached the horizon. The more they approached the horizon, the smaller they got. People keep forgetting
What would
Soundly
cause
did this
that?
amazing observation for us, and people act like
What would
they
cause
forgot
that?
about it. Atmospheric effects, perspective, a combination of both. I don't know. It's
All right.
irrelevant. It
Compare the size of the lowest floor that you could see. Compare that to the floor below it. Why did it go from that size to 0? Disappeared, and compared to the floor above it, where it's almost the same size.
Well, that's another story.
What?
That's another story.
No, that's not another story. That is the story.
No, that's another story. Listen, we got the compressing, smushing,
No,
and smashing.
that's exactly the problem here.
No, the problem is Lemon's telling you guys it's smushing,
Jeremy,
smashing,
it's been explained to you. You are being dishonest and evasive. That's it at this point.
I'm just trying to help
this
Lemon out.
engagement is over.
Thanks,
No, it's not over. I'm trying to help Lemon out because the thing is, when Lemon says they're smushing, smashing, and converging, they are. Your boy Soundly showed us that they are, and you guys.
You don't smash your line, motherfucker.
Yes, you
think
do.
the
A
pictures
line
that I've
has
just
thickness
posted
too.
are
Yes, you
are
do,
crayony
Curb.
enough for Jeremy?
You're not going to smash your level eye line.
You smash that too, yes. And you know why you smash it? Because you're close to the surface.
It has no size to smash. You're an idiot and a liar.
Think of it this way, Curved.
No.
Whenever there's no floor in the way,
No.
you have
Take
visual
your
space
fork
crowding
double
in.
tongue and go rim Jeremy with it. I'm sick of hearing your
Whenever
fucking
you
lies,
have
Lemon.
open space, no floor in the way, visual space comes in to crowd out the object and make it disappear from the top, bottom, left, and right. But if you're close to the floor, some information is going to come up with the floor ramping up from the bottom. So for a while, it will be top, bottom, left, and right. But up to the horizon, that's going to stop because you're only a certain distance above the floor. So pretty soon, instead of it being top, bottom, left, and right, it's just going to be top, left, right, crowding it out constantly, crushing it, converging it. So you're going to be sighting to bigger zones that are coming top, left, and right while the bottom is set. And so it's going to be interpreted as a curve downward because it's top, left, right, coming in and crowding out the object constantly.
Lemon, if I was to look out on I posted a picture a second ago, and I gave a little description for you. But if I was looking at a seawall or something, and I got myself exactly in line with that seawall, and I had a boat that was anchored off in the distance, right at the horizon, give or take, and I was to back away from that seawall, a straight line, keeping in line with the seawall. would that boat disappear into the seawall at the same rate that it disappears over the horizon?
So you're backing away from the seawall to the left.
No, well, straight back. If you see the image, I
I
got two
see.
lines over there. Those are my eye level.
Okay.
My eye level's right at the top of that boat, and I start backing away, and backing away, and backing away. Will that boat suck into the seawall?
You'd have to be closer to the seawall than to the surface. But yes, if you're closer to the seawall. Because it's happened top, bottom, left, and right. Yeah.
I'm exactly in line with the seawall. Like my right eye is the only eye I'm looking at this image with.
Your right eye's looking at it. If you're closer to the seawall than the surface, that would be the condition that you need to meet for it to smush into the seawall first. But if you're closer to the surface than you are to the seawall, then you'll smush into the surface first.
Oh, okay. So you think it'll smush into the seawall faster? Interesting.
If it's closer to the seawall than the surface, yes. So I guess I'd have to see if there's a distance where you're equal distance from the seawalls and equal distance to the surface, where they both happen at the same time.
More
At
interested
that
in
point,
it
the
smushing into the seawall.
coefficient will be.
As angular resolution becomes too hard to see, and it starts sucking in there. And then when I go and pull out my camera, and I can see the whole boat again, because it's going to disappear uniformly in all directions, with its bow always touching that seawall. You know, as far as my eye goes, it'll look like it's just touching the seawall, and that won't change.
I guess you can peer into zones of light that aren't too smashed. But when it's too smashed, the camera, the eye, it's not going to do any good. Smushed in this case, yes.
Hold on.
And it equals.
Moyak, you've got it to where
Yeah.
that gives the illusion that the boat's on the seawall, right?
Yes. So it looks like the bow of it is touching the seawall. I just got the perfect alignment, and the guy anchored right there. And his bow appears to be just touching that seawall. Now, as I back away, my first mile, it should suck into the wall 8 inches. It should, and I keep backing away from it. It should keep sucking into that wall. Just like Lemon proposes first perspective tour.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if the Earth were flat, perspective would be very straightforward, and parallel lines don't actually intersect, but they do go off into the towards the vanishing point. So the further you went back, the boat would stay where it was.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I tried to say top, bottom, left, right. Zones of vision crowd in equally if there's no surface in the way. If there's a surface in the way, it'll be top, bottom, left, right for a while. But up until the horizon vanishing point, that bottom process will stop. And then it becomes, instead of top, bottom, left, right, crowding in to crush and merge and converge and disappear this object, it's now going to be top, left, right, top, left, right, top, left, right. And that's going to be interpreted by the eye as an image going downward over a curve.
Your eye doesn't interpret anything.
Something that we could reproduce. Go to any big
The
city
hallway.
and go to any big city, line yourself up with a building, and then go straight back on that building and see if the other building just sucks behind it. Line it up right with the wall. Get yourself perfectly in line with that wall and keep backing up and watch that building suck into the other.
Right. And that's why this does happen in all directions. Yes, I agree with you about perspective about that, but I think the limiting surface makes it so that if you're 6 feet off the surface, you only have 6 feet top, bottom, left, right converging up to that vanishing point. And then once the 6 feet in the bottom part's gone, now it's no longer 6 feet top, bottom, left, right. It's now more like 10 feet top, left, right, 20 feet top, left, right, 40 feet top, left, right. And so your level line interpret that as a curve downward.
As long as you don't
The acute
change
angle
that
to the
distance
ground.
between your left-right distance position to that building, you can go back to infinity until it disappears. Zoom in on it again, and those buildings will still be separated or right touching each other.
Up to a point, but with that top left right.
Any distance.
But with the top left right thing that I was talking about, if you have like 500 feet top left right and 6 feet that is converged and just stopped toward the ground, you're just going to have a really tight compressed angle toward the level of the eyes. So tight, no optic's going to bring back anything unless you go into infrared. You need to find a way to separate out the light and make it into a coherent 2D.
No, I'll be able to zoom in that building and watch the guy going in the front door.
Because the most compression appears to happen toward the level of the eyes, like looking down a hallway.
Like I said, that won't happen. Back up.
He showed it great with the
Back away
tile,
from
with
the
the
building,
ceiling.
straight line. Set up the map. Get yourself in a straight line with it, and you'll see that that little whatever you're lining up with the one building in the foreground will never suck into the one behind it, as long as you're lined up straight.
He showed it great in the hallway, Lemon, because you had the ceiling tiles and tiles on the floor as like markers, so you could see, so you knew how much was getting compressed into the zones as you went up
Every
and
time
down.
you zoom in on that hallway, every time you improve your optics, that hallway will expand right out to its original size.
And the end and the image you're seeing, it's the camera's gonna. You act like the camera's gonna take that away. Looking through a camera doesn't take that away.
If you zoom in 100 times in that hallway, you'll see the doorknob at the end. You'll see the floor, the ceiling, the left wall, the right wall, and the ceiling. Floor, ceiling, left, right wall.
And you realize if you're towards the floor, you're gonna see more of the ceiling and less of the floor, right?
You realize that you will still see the floor.
You understand that? No, hold on. No. Answer my
Baseboard
question, please.
You'll see the cove molding.
Do
The
you
quarter
realize that you're
molding
gonna
going
see-
all around it. You'll see that.
Don't answer any questions. I know. Do you realize when you're lower to the floor, you're going to see more of the ceiling, less of the floor?
But I'll never see the.
Don't
crown-
answer it again. All right.
But I will never
Don't
see the
answer my
crown
question
molding.
again.
I will never see the
Why
crown
aren't you
molding.
answering the question?
I will never see the crown molding obscured.
Why aren't you answering the question?
Because
Everyone's paying
what you're
attention.
talking
He's
about
not
is
not
2D.
answering.
You're stuck in the world of 2D. You want
Pay
2D
attention.
energy.
Pay
You
attention.
want
Whoever's
only
listening,
the
he
only one
can't
that
answer this
fits
question
the
because
paint.
it's
You're worried about
devastating.
the thickness of the paint.
These questions take a lot of thinking about how things would work over a flat plane. That's why I'm saying with the floor there, the floor can only compress so much before the bottom is irrelevant. At that point, it becomes top, left, right with converging zones, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, smashing the image with a set floor.
Except for the fact that the crown molding, that anything that stands up off of that surface, floor, ceiling, floor, ceiling, walls, anything that sticks up from those surfaces will be visible virtually forever. The paint won't be able to be seen because it's essentially 2D.
There was another picture that I remember getting from somewhere that I saw. It was Ranty again with his P900. He had an egg and a little Buddha statue on a running track, and he put his P900 on the floor. And guess what? You could zoom in all the way and still see all of the statue and the egg, and you could even see the little hill that was behind them. So yeah, that doesn't work.
Moyak, first of all, you're projecting. You're the one who's trying to live in the 2D world with your surface of a sphere bullshit.
I'm gonna go find the egg picture.
Second of all, hold on. Second of all, you don't see in 3D. You don't see in 3D. What we're seeing when we're seeing end of the hallway, you're not seeing that in 3D.
You are trying to look at things that do not rise up off the surface, and you're expecting that to be the same as something that does rise up off the surface because you're a fucking retarded janitor mom with one eye. You're blind.
Well, you could get a little piece of paper and start stacking pieces of paper on that. I mean, you'd have to go out with distance to do it because obviously, if you're looking across the chessboard, yeah, or down a hallway, bring it out a few miles.
It should be scalable.
Yeah, Moyak, what's it like to get?
It gets me when Lemon sort of makes the claims that it gets me when Lemon says that, you know, things just get squished from the bottom up. Yet we can look at this lovely picture here, and it's kind of strange because when I zoom into it, I can even pretty much read the writing on those chests.
Yeah.
So it's really, really clear. It's like there's something cutting it off. It's like something obscuring it rather than things being compressed at the bottom.
You're right. There's definitely
There's one there. There is one container there.
Hold on a second. There's definitely clearly more things happening.
I wasn't talking.
Yeah, I tried to jump in.
Well, wasn't it?
So let's.
Well,
let a
sorry,
flag
wasn't
bird
there
over.
percent saying something before Druss interrupted him?
hour.
Nah, it was talked over, but the person
But
that
yeah,
needed
Dross,
to
there's
hear
one
it-
of those containers there. You can actually see
Just-
half
just
of the
going
writing
crazy,
cut
Kimo.
off.
What's
I
up,
just
Kimo? How
wanted to
you
add
doing?
real quick.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
There's clearly Druss was right. There clearly is more happening than
Yep.
just perspective alone.
Curvature.
Obviously, it's not
Curvature.
only perspective, but perspective is having a major impact on how we see things.
And there's curvature.
They want to you want to
A
kill
little
one
bit.
thing at a time, and it's like, well, yeah, that's not the only cause of it. So I don't know why you guys try to do this day
Well,
in, day
tell
out, every
the
single
things are
day.
that make those
You
containers
try to
crisp.
rule perspective
Horizon.
out. We're not saying it's
Yeah,
only
Druss is
perspective.
usually telling the truth, just not the whole truth, and not always.
Like they
nothing
do
but the
this day
truth.
after day. They try to debunk the fact that it's perspective, and we're not saying it's only perspective.
It's anything but perspective.
Perspective has a huge impact on how you see things.
No, yes, we know. Perspective
know.
has huge impact. Perspective make things look smaller in the distance.
Like when you-
Obstructions look things to disappear. It's very simple,
Objects in the mirror
Jeremy.
are closer than they appear.
Yeah.
Dr. Nemesis, did you want to say something, Dr. Nemesis?
Oh no, I already did. It was just about the one of the containers that Druss had posted in that picture. You can actually see the half of the writing on one of the brown ones on the left-hand side. Like half of that writing, the white writing, is cut off. You can see the rest of it, but it seems to be blocked at that point.
I'm going to try to do a pained analogy with what I think is happening. It's just sort of card kaleidoscope. Have you ever seen that deck of cards and then you put out the deck and then you kind of slide it to the left a little bit to the where it looks like a collated deck of cards, kind of like a little wash of cards, or side by side with each other, like a royal flush. Each of those cards represents a zone of vision of a certain thickness, 6, 12, 18, 24. Bigger and bigger zones of vision going from, I guess, left to right with the cards. I think of, the image being in the middle of a collated, line of cards going top, bottom, left, and right. But if you're 6 feet off of the floor, there's only 6 cards at the bottom part that's kind of like a royal flush collated downward. So, like, these cards are going to smash together. But after you run out of 6 cards at the bottom, after those cards have run out, that's it. It's set. But you're still going to get cards coming in from the top, bottom, left, and right. Infinite numbers of cards, depending on how far you look. And I think that's what's happening with vision. They're still smashing going on from the left, the right, and the top. But the freaking
Smushing
phone!
lemon.
Ah!
Well,
Hey, I
I
want to hear
have to
something
be
cool.
very- I have to be very careful when I talk because evidently any excuse that's going to Chemo is going to put me on mute again. Don't know why he's doing it. Hasn't given me any reason. No mod guidance. It's really strange.
Well, you want to
I
hear
got
something cool?
muted a minute ago, and Chemo denies having done it. I'm just wondering, did you mute me, Captain Bullshit?
Well, as opposed to spiraling,